What's going on, guys? We're at the Lancaster Library. I'm with Police State Productions, Bananarana. Their link will be in the description. Lancaster didn't do so hot the last time. Here's a brief clip. So show you going out. Dude, step back from me. You put your hands on me. You're gonna. Are you auditing? Huh? Are you auditing? No. Right now I'm filling out a records request on the person that tried to assault me.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Wait, hold on. So, are you a cop?
Yeah, I'm a detective.
Detective. So, I'm a member of the public,
yep.
And I just told a police officer that I'm filling out a records request on the person that tried to assault me, the person that was involved in criminal activity.
Okay.
And then your response was okay, and you're about to walk away.
Right.
Oh, what do you get there? Oh, do you want to smile for it? Oh, I love this part. This part's great.
Oh.
Oh, look at it. Yeah. Okay. So now is the fun part. Do you know what I get to tell you now?
What?
I get to tell you not to delete or to remove those files because now they've been made public. So I'm going to do a records request and I'm going to get a copy of those pictures. Now you're going to tell me, no, I'm not. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right. And then I'm going to tell you that even if it's a private or personal phone, you use it in your public capacity to create a public record. And I am going to get the pictures. And you're going to tell me, doubt it. And then I'm going to get a copy of the pictures. So don't get rid of them, okay?
We did a cam
So who are you?
Huh?
Who are you?
I'm the person that's going to get those pictures. You can tell the look on his face was bewilderment and doubt. But I'm glad we were able to clear that up for him because, as promised, got the pictures from his personal phone the moment he made a public record. Also public record is the records request that we did. Can you believe he makes 95 grand to tell someone that they can't exhibit their rights and then to try and go hands-on if they do? So this guy knew how his colleagues across the street did. So after one guy tried going hands-on and the cops had an ultimate fail, would he suffer the same fate?
A little bit. I knew what happened over there.
Yeah.
So I am prepared.
Yeah.
And I prepared my staff. That was a luxury they didn't have. Okay. So I heard how it went and I said, I don't want it to go that way here. And I trained my staff on what to do. And your experience was...
Enjoy the whole video. And stay tuned for the best history lesson you will have in your entire life. Now that you saw that, now let's see how the library does. Oh, that's a nice plaque for all those who fought for our country.
It is nice. Ooh.
There you go.
That's a heavy door, huh? Hi.
Hello.
What can I do for you?
I'm just taking a peek around the library, get some
Okay.
pictures and stuff.
Well, welcome. This part is the original, so it's 1868 is when this part was built.
Beautiful.
That part was added on the early 1900s. And
Oh, look, the British are coming.
The other two parts were 1999.
It's beautiful.
I want to show you guys this real quick.
That's 150 plus years.
Let me show you a quick pic of a quick roll of the British are coming.
For what purpose?
I just got to take some pictures and video. Oh, government is beautiful.
For what purpose?
I'm just taking some pictures and video.
For what purpose?
I just told you the purpose.
Yeah,
No, you
government's beautiful.
Yeah.
Netflix filmed a movie in here.
Which movie?
Filmed The Society,
Ooh.
Yeah, they didn't even let Netflix use
season
this.
1. And they were about to film season 2 when the governor shut the state down.
Oh, I missed it. What were they going to film? They filmed The Society here.
Society, I think it was like a mini series, I think it was 10 shows. They filmed it in Lancaster, but they did quite a bit in here.
That is very cool. That's interesting too. So they're so strict about these. Well, which I would be too. No, probably. They probably want to
Can I go up the stairs? Am I?
Netflix, but he wants to go.
Can I go up? I want to do what Netflix can't do. That makes me bigger than Netflix.
I personally don't even want to attempt to go up it just because I don't want to mess
It's
with
very,
history.
when you get up top, I'm not that I've gone up there, but I've stood up top and looked down, and the stairs are so narrow, it's like scary.
It's honestly like the stairs at my home. They're so narrow and steep. You know what I mean, Joe?
Yeah, I do. Well, that's it. That's the Lancaster Library. Very, very nice here. Wonderful for them, and that's the reason that we. It's done in there as well. Yeah,
Oh, it's like a nice little area.
they're very nice. She said.
You guys?
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Do you need any help with anything?
No, we're good. I'm just walking around taking some pictures.
Cool. Let me know if you need anything. I'm
Thanks
Joe.
so much, Joe.
You're the director?
I am.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys.
So what is it that you do? Do you do any of like ordering of the books, or you just kind of oversee the employees?
Pretty much everything.
Everything.
As needed.
Good.
As needed.
Tough job.
So did you guys get the brief history of things?
Yeah, we did. She was phenomenal. She gave us a brief rundown.
Built in here too, what was that one?
Oh, it
One
was-
where it was just screaming. That was. the
Slender
one-
Man.
Yes.
Oh, Slenderman was filmed here too, huh?
Based on that real story about the kids from the Midwest.
Yeah, yeah.
They stabbed the other ones. They
Yeah.
filmed that one in the kids' room, but you'd never know it when you watched it.
Right.
If you didn't
Actually,
know
if
the
you see
carpeting,
the-
they changed it so much
If
the
you
way
if you saw the preview, you would notice the library. One of the scenes they did was right in the library, but other than knowing what the carpet looked like, you would never
you
know.
wouldn't recognize.
Gotcha.
So let
That's
me
what she was saying.
let me just give you.
Oh, I forgot to tell them to look up.
So this building here is called Memorial Hall.
Yeah.
It was a Civil War memorial, which is pretty interesting in and of itself that the memorial would be a public library. And it
Right.
happened soon after the Civil War, which ended in 1865. This building went up within 3 years. So we are inclined to think that this is the first Civil War memorial library in the country. And this was the only part of the building. Just this.
Yeah, that's what she was saying.
So if we go to the right,
And the rich people of Lancaster sort of donated books from their private collection way back when, in the 1800s to Scotland.
so that right there. Right, that right there used to be straight ahead in the rotunda you were facing where you came from.
Okay.
And this right here are all the men who died during the Civil War.
Oh, wow.
As a percentage of the population, this is a large amount. Maybe a little bit higher than most communities in Massachusetts. But if you take a closer gander, you'll notice there's a 53-year-old, there's a 46-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Okay.
actually-
19 all over.
We were in New Hampshire the other day, and we saw one, and it didn't have their ages, but it said Pfeiffer. And I explained to my buddy, I was like, he couldn't have been more than 12 or 13. Like, people don't understand the wars and it's beautiful that it says that our posterity may also know them, because it's the preamble of the Constitution. That's what we do all this for. And it's great when you see these names, because it's just a number. 300 years ago, it's so long ago. It's just a number. It's just forgotten. But if right now there was a war and this many folks from this town died, it's much more in front of you.
What I say to folks is, you better believe everybody would take up arms if somebody was on our borders looking to do us harm.
Yep.
I think just about everybody would be ready to defend this country, regardless if you were a man or a woman.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And it wouldn't be a problem. So we wouldn't necessarily only be looking at our military.
Right.
Yeah, of course. That's why we established militias.
That's right.
The National Guard, I mean, it wasn't intended to be a federal standing army. It was supposed to be for each respective states
That's right.
to protect it from encroaching borders after the whole Texas incident.
Yeah. Love of country, love of liberty, and love of virtue.
The 38 miles to Bolton to.
So, yeah, this is a mile marker, which we got from I'm not sure who donated this, but this is the real McCoy. You know, this is your chunk of history. I mean,
Yeah.
Lexington and Concord was
right there.
just down the road.
Right.
And Lancaster residents were at it.
Absolutely.
So it's
Bigger battle, I think, than when you look at perspectives. Like obviously, Lexington and Concord, there's probably about 70 casualties. There wasn't a huge war in Gettysburg. 100,000 people died in
was
like the
amazing how many people
first
died.
day. But
just to read about that war.
Lexington and Concord was the first. That was the first real,
Engagement.
action. Which set a tone. And I find Gettysburg and Lexington and Concord to be very similar in the purpose of both of those battles.
I want to also, if you're interested in military service here, we have this right here, and you need to look at the Korean and World War II.
Out front, right?
Now, look how many people died during World War I. This just floors me.
Right.
It just floors me.
That's the largest list that I've seen, probably by about 4.
So Lancaster's still not a great population. Right now we're about 8,000, which isn't a
Right.
big number now. That would be big if the town were 8,000 at the time.
Right.
Right.
So, to me, I look at the World War II, they had to go on the back, that there are so many people who perished. This is,
So you think, okay, so we think this is a lot?
oh yeah.
Well, for this town.
Oh, for the
And for
time.
that-
I mean, like say that say that there was a terrorist attack and this town sent
Right.
this many people. Have you
I see,
heard in the
yes.
nation that this many soldiers had died just in one conflict? You'd be like, holy shit, for one town.
Okay, I see.
That's the thing. Like back then, people. I mean, this is more formal. Obviously, we're at World War I, but I mean, what they did is they grabbed the closest weapon that they had. They tried to pull together, and they just went out and joined an active army that was marching. So to have that many people show up for something that wasn't, it's pretty serious. That's in a 4-year time frame. That's a lot of people to die in 4
That's what I'm
years from one
saying.
place.
This is,
Yeah.
and so now you see how much this is. And you're like,
Yeah.
my goodness. You're going to see the World War II right on the other side of this building.
Telegraph battalion, so he was sending the information back.
The ones that are out there from the
Just
people from this
Lancaster.
town, from Lancaster.
Just, this is a very patriotic town.
Amazing. The history is unbelievable.
And you had folks on loan who died here too, from the Royal Canadian Royal Air Force.
Well, and I think it's beautiful that you guys have these
I know.
resources displayed in your library. A lot of times you have to go to a separate area.
No, well,
That's
that
right.
goes back to that thing I told you before, is that was a memorial
'Cause this was a
Right.
to the Civil
memorial, yeah.
War. I still, and so this, on the other end of this, it was fitting that we would keep them all together.
Yes.
Right, exactly. I love that.
Oh, you can't escape the memorial and the Thayer Memorial Library. And what we, as a staff, always contemplate is the building does half the work for us, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You come into the building and look at you guys. It's done half the work for you right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish the staff next door. We met some folks over there just doing the same thing we are now. And I think the first thing that young lady told you was they're filming. They're very nice. Walked in next door the same way, and by a couple
that was you.
folks. That was us. Treated with quite a bit of contempt from a few people, and this is the reason why we do what we do. I mean, I think that sometimes people can take a step back and just, a name may seem just like a name, but it's a lot more than that.
Some of these names, the families still live here.
Absolutely. I regret.
So I started to start a World War II interview. Library of Congress started a program like that, and Chet Locke, who served during World War II, most of your World War II generation is no longer with us.
Right.
Very few.
But it was a wonderful interview. He saw action. And we had 2 cameras actually. I really tried to do it the best I could, and the footage never got back to me from the person who was filming.
Is he still with us? Yeah,
Chet
most
was
of
a
them are
special.
not.
Actually, I'm going to show you something special. Unfortunately, I don't have enough staff to do this with more frequency, but since you showed such an interest. Yeah.
Right.
Now you have to forgive me, the museum isn't in great shape right now, but you'll get the idea of why I'm bringing you there. So the museum here was built soon after the library was built. So if you consider Lancaster is called the mother town. And the reason why it's called the mother town is many of the surrounding towns used to be part of Lancaster. Lancaster's 24 square miles now. Bolton was part of it. Leominster, Lunenburg was huge. And that was because in 1653 the town was founded. It's the oldest town in Worcester County.
Yeah.
What's that?
You said Worcester as well?
Worcester County.
Worcester County, yeah.
So if you think of all the towns that you may know in Worcester, this 1653.
Kind of like Danvers and Peabody are bigger than Salem, but that was part of Greater Salem Village.
So here's the museum that we're in process.
Oh, wow.
So these are periods, it's mostly the Civil War, but I just went to a school to put these on as a presentation.
And these are period pieces from the time?
So, you know, you look at something like this, and this kind of puts you in the time period, right? We're talking about wars.
Yeah.
Terrible. You have medics
Yeah.
who can...
And there's no aiming these things. These go. I'll tell you one thing. There was a big saying back then. 90 seconds was the barbers. It's a barber kit.
So they were used for more things than being,
Right.
you know...
See, barbers back then were
That's
field
right.
surgeons, like
Yes,
your
that's
normal.
right. That's right.
And they used to
That's
say
why
ni-
their thing that circles has got
Yeah.
red on it because that's how you knew.
That's beautiful.
Do you know why they say 90 seconds would save your life?
No.
Because it would normally take the untrained New Englander 90 seconds to reload and fire again.
So my smart friend over here, give me three uses that this device, this object, was used during the Civil War.
Well, besides combat, to stick,
That's one.
to stick it in the ground,
To do what?
to hold up your food.
Or candle. Very
Yeah,
impressive.
yeah,
And what's the other one?
To hold a candle?
To hold a candle. So if you took
Oh,
this,
that's right.
Yeah, right, right.
and you put it, I just learned that actually, to be honest with you. A historian told me that. And also, stick a piece of meat in that, put it right over the
okay.
fire. It's above your, kind of protects your hand there. You see that?
I was told that what they had in the elements, what they would do is, now obviously this is really top heavy, but they would put that in the ground, get it in real deep, and then they would put their food on the top of the butt so that way the animals couldn't get to it.
You know, I went to the school and I asked them the same question. And it's amazing, you knew the answer. But when they're told the answer, you just see their imagination open up.
Like I just did right now.
Exactly. And it's because now they're seeing how
physical,
resourceful.
yes.
They weren't carrying packs like they carry now, right? But they had to make the best out of whatever they had.
Yeah.
Because they weren't carrying 60 pounds of
Gear and stuff, yeah.
So,
Now, is this all period as well,
Yep.
the uniforms?
so this is this guy right here, Washburn, and that jacket is original.
Now, who's the last name Thayer? Thayer?
The Thayers,
What were they?
the minister, Nathaniel Thayer, was the first on the scene, and then many of his children still remained, made their money in railroads, and were very generous to the community. One still serves on the board of trustees, my boss, and one was a board of selectmen and a board of trustee member before I got here.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So they were really,
In the community.
they saw themselves as servants to the community, very understated people. They're not looking to, you know.
It's wonderful to see. You know what? I wish that. That's why I was so. I can't tell you. I was not surprised at the interaction I had at town hall then, because I come across that all the time. I walk in the same building, nice, just looking to look around. I'm more surprised now because of the rich heritage of history. You would never think of rich heritage history. This is probably the best period museum, not with replicas, that I've ever visited in person. You know what I mean? You usually see a replica of something. I mean, even down to the millions of dollars it spent on boats. You know, to come in and look at that right there. The last time that was held 200 years ago,
That's right.
someone could have fired a shot.
And that's what makes this library somewhat difficult to manage, because you don't have a curator on staff, right? So we're making the best we can. You know, that's a real skill set unto itself.
Yeah.
We have a rare book collection downstairs. That's a collection expert unto itself. We have an archives. So really, the director is wearing a lot of hats, which means
That's what I'm seeing today.
which means that unfortunately some things don't get the attention They need like this room.
Right.
So I want to tell you a quick story, if you got the time.
Yeah, of course.
We have the time. This is.
So see this right here?
Yeah.
I said most of this stuff was period. My smart
Yeah.
friend. What period?
Well, that's probably one of the original. I mean, for the Civil War, those were fired in the Civil War.
That is a World War II rifle.
World War II.
Now, who fired it? Which
That
of the
one?
combatants?
World War II.
Japan.
Japan.
Okay, how did we get it? Now that's the fun part.
Oh,
See the
okay.
Japan flag over there.
I'm going to get to that last.
Okay.
So the gentleman who gave that, Donald Boucher, another man from World War II, was very close to the library. As the story goes, he was on site when the Japanese gave up, and officers were giving sabers, and the regular enlisted were given rifles. So that was the rifle. But here's the thing. This floors me. I'm from the New York City area.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you the same question I ask other people, and I'd be surprised to hear what your answers would be.
Oh, look at that, huh?
So, Mr. Boucher went on the mainland and got, of course, this flag. It's made of silk. And he had in Japanese written Tokyo, that's where he was, his name,
His name. Yeah.
and the town of Lancaster. Now think about it. If you had a boyfriend or a girlfriend and you were far away from home and you missed them, would you put their name there?
Yeah.
Would you put your mother's name there? No, he put the town of Lancaster, which gives you the sense of how much,
Patriotic.
well, how much, people love this town.
Yeah.
They just love being in this town. Now, like I said, I'm from the New York City area, and boroughs, people have
They're
stuff
proud
about,
for their from where they
but
from.
there is no sense of the history. I mean,
Listen, I'm from Stoneham, and I don't have Stoneham tattooed on me. I have Boston.
well, see, so you see what I'm saying?
So
This
I can
man was
understand. That was his sense of history. That was his understanding, even from New York.
I can't wait to go home. And that's my home. And he lived here all his life.
I love that.
So you're very, very passionate because anyone can recite history. It takes a special kind of person to tell a tale and take someone along with you on that journey. And that's why I said 300 years ago, oh, it's the Civil War, and you pass on. And people forget about the names, but even though it's a small space, you were able to bring those folks back to life, to make people able to relive that sacrifice.
What else I tried to do is perspective, right? So whatever you think of the time we're in, you could say it's a little tumultuous, all right? Yeah. Whatever is happening in the United States. And even you hear people throw around, oh, there's going to be a civil war, this, that. And I say to myself, guys, be careful. It was the horror of the Civil War that we would never even want to play with that.
That's right.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
And, at the time, the economies were hit so hard because all the men were dying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, I was told only one person was hanged during the Civil War.
Really?
And do you know who it was?
No.
It was the person who ran Andersonville. Andersonville was where they put the prisoners in the South, and it was terrible how they treated
The president.
actually their fellow citizens. To some extent, there's still
Yeah,
that
there's
bond,
still-
and even if they haven't, the war hasn't finished yet.
Yeah.
And right here, here's something interesting too.
And he got
Tell you a
hit,
little
huh?
story about this. So the librarians before me were amazing, and it's hard to live up to their legacy because I see it on so many occasions, and this is a really good example. Before we had the internet or a way to communicate, let's say, indexes or catalogs of information, people just typed them on paper and mailed them. And so this was in some sort of a list that a particular college had it on hand or was able to find it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the scholar who studied powder horns. And he called me and said, you have a powder horn that's really important to my research. I'd like to arrange a time. And this was in Pennsylvania. So it was a big deal that he see this powder horn. And when he was done, I asked him, what did you think of your powder horn? He goes, oh, it's not here. I said, it's not. Wow, that's not good. He goes, oh, don't worry too much because you have really a better powder horn, and it's this one right here, which is around the Revolution War, and you could see the name of this etching.
Yeah.
You rarely see that on powder horns, and usually when you do,
Have a wealthier
it's a historically significant object. It tells you this person, this is their powder horn. And I believe it also has on it the creator of the powder horn.
And the date
So-
and everything, 1746.
So, this is,
Now this powder horn, let me just, cause that's where they put the gunpowder. They keep it on them and then put it in the mush, right?
that's right.
Oh, wow, look at that.
So these epaulets are real, and they were on
This guy?
Washburn. Yeah.
Washburn, huh?
Yeah.
There's a town named Washburn too. Right?
He was breveted on the field of what is a brevet? Tell me what a brevet is.
Isn't it when you're promoted?
It is on the field because
Because you're a person before you died, right?
no, as I understand it, you were breveted because there was no more high-ranking person on the
I see.
battlefield. So
Right.
maybe it was a colonel
Right.
that would be breveted, just so you had a clear line of command.
Oh wow.
So pretty cool stuff, guys. It's a pleasure to come to work here. I've been here quite a long time, 20 years, and it's like I said about I can't think of it. The thing at the end of the gun.
Oh, well, you just showed us.
The
I
bayonet.
don't
The
know. I
bayonet.
don't know
Excuse
anything
me.
about guns.
The bayonet.
Bayonet.
When that person told me that other thing, that was only about 6 months ago. I'm like, oh, that is so
You would never
cool.
think.
Yeah.
And this stuff, all these artifacts, they came
Like the
from
cannonballs.
where like where
Residents.
Residents had it over there, period of time, and
They
they,
You got a 1 pound, a 3 pound?
and they donated.
Here, I'll show you something else cool.
That's crazy.
Look, this is I've never been to. I love history, and this has been.
So, Lancaster is thought to be the only town in the country, and like I said, likely or thought to be, to have these formations, these geological, and they're called chiastolites. Now, sometimes called crosses, cross rock. You can see it right there. And now, what I want you to do, let me see if I can find a good one. Yeah, here's a great one. So just run your finger over that. I mean, that almost looks like enamel, but that is natural to the rock.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
And so, folks have given us their rock. Here's a cross section of it that somebody was nice enough to do for us. But of course, people find this stuff in their backyards, and
Right.
Yeah, the wonders that
there's
people
only so
find in
many-
their
there's only
backyards
so many rocks we
in
know.
Massachusetts.
Right.
And also here we have Native American artifacts. Of course, this is the place where King Philip's War was.
Yeah.
Many of the people in Lancaster find this stuff in their yards.
Some arrowheads.
There is some concern to repatriate some of our artifacts. It's kind of a movement within our profession. I think it's a pretty good one. So this is
Yeah, he said that.
It's just hard to run it.
this is
They
the
don't have enough staffing, they can't just like.
Oh,
Reverend Nathaniel Thayer.
Okay.
Occasionally.
And his there were 4 brothers who gave the money to the library to have the memorial part of it. And the best part was, think about the times. He said, I'll give you half. It's up to the town to raise the other half. This is a public library.
Right.
And I thought that was just so appropriate because he could have paid for it all,
Right.
right? But
Yeah.
the municipal expenditures that go to running an organization like this is minuscule. It's like less than 2%, maybe closer to 1.5%. $50 a year for a patron, that's what they give basically. So that's not even a year's worth of Netflix.
Of course.
Um,
Netflix and HBO.
So
And this book, this Worcester County, what is this old book?
Oh, mine. I
Biography?
think that's a dictionary. No, Worcester County, I don't know actually. This is probably, I think I know what this is, but I'll open it. Of course, the trouble is when you open these things, the bindings are so.
Benjamin Franklin has ties here, huh?
Yes, yes. In fact, if you go to, okay, so this is just people, I believe, in their biographies in terms of.
Of Worcester, of the more
Yeah, the
people, I
yeah,
guess, of the.
yeah, important people, the wealthy people, the wealthy people. Yeah, so
You gotta include the wealthy people. That's.
they're benefactors, so
Right,
there's
that's
nothing
what
wrong. There's
happens
nothing
here.
wrong with being rich.
No.
No.
Josiah was the son of William Flagg and Sarah Markham, and the
If you
grandson
were
of
to
Jane
go
Franklin Markham,
to
the sister of
any
Benjamin
Barnes &
Franklin.
Noble, there's a book by the author Geological. She's a Harvard historian, and that is the cover of her book, Book of Ages.
Oh, wow.
She came here for an exhibition that we were having, and she saw that, and she knew exactly who it was. And she said, "Hey, can we have that for the cover of the book?" Her people called me, and I had, again, I'm learning stuff. I was ill prepared because I don't know what we're supposed to ask for. And so I said, would Jill be happy to come and do a presentation? I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But what they're expecting is that there's going to be a fee for all the covers that's going to be on credit of sorts. But we were happy to have her, and it was a wonderful, wonderful program speaking on this.
It's very cool. That also, when you think about it like that, we're all a part of history, even the smallest amounts, and you were a part of history for her. It's just very cool. And then you gave her the opportunity to be able to use that.
Mm.
Well, not just you, but
So, all three camera people, come here, please.
Yes.
I just want to speak on behalf of my colleagues over in town, because I know them personally, and they're fine people, and they're good civil servants to a person. I would just say, for your consideration, that people are on their back foot when they see these cameras. They don't know what your intentions are. So I can't speak to what actually happened, because I heard it was uncomfortable for folks, maybe you guys as well, and I just didn't want to see that, so I haven't watched the video.
it was horrible on his end, and then on mine, he's redressing his grievances as he should, because he was treated awful, and they laughed at him.
Mm.
And then there was a cop that was in there doing an investigation, but he didn't ask from his perspective at all, and then walked away.
I get why they could feel uncomfortable with
I'm
it.
not actually interested in the details. I'm just saying, as a matter of course, you have the right to do what you're doing. I don't think anybody.
Well, that's why I think that this is great, and that's why it's such a contrast, because the whole thing, started over me having a camera, and this I was just looking at. Welcome Lafayette, the American eagle and its triumph shall
Let me
wave.
just underscore this a little bit. I knew what happened over there.
Yeah.
So I am prepared.
Yeah.
And I prepared my staff. That was a luxury they didn't have. So I heard how it went, and I said, I don't want it to go that way here. And I trained my staff on what to do. And your experience was
Phenomenal.
I mean,
if you would have given notice
probably
like
the best
that,
experience I've ever had.
if you gave notice like that, I think you would have had an entirely different.
But that's it. But it's the notice is the this gentleman, if he's dying in a foxhole, he doesn't think of, these rights are inalienable and shall remain solid, the bedrock of our Constitution, as long as someone's got a little bit of notice. We're the same every way, the same as we were here. We do not go in looking for confrontation. We're never rude. We never yell at people. In fact, we extend the courtesy of telling people why we're here. I'm in public. There's no expectation of privacy in public. Here taking a couple photos. No. You're not allowed to do that. And that's I can't stop someone. I give everyone the benefit of the doubt, because I would rather these videos go just like this. As you can tell, I'm a history buff. I love the history of our country. I want every interaction to be just like this.
Yeah, and I think if they had the advance notice that I have, I think you would have had a different experience. And your experience is about information gathering, right? But the reputation is that you're a gotcha group, that you're looking to get town officials in difficult scenarios. Now, I'm not saying it's true, guys. I'm saying you are going to
That's the
find.
impression that some people get.
And so what happens?
All they have to do is just watch a little bit, because you know what? Right now, in the past month and a half, I got more positive videos than I have negative. We post them all. It's really up to people. Like, and I respect your opinion, and but they have had the luxury. Because what if I was to tell you that they received a memo from NEMLAC, which is the New England Municipal Law Enforcement Association, giving them an exact bullet point that we were in the area, so they had it.
And they did.
They had it, and the other place, and I did a FOIA request on it. All the other towns looked at it, and we came in this. We've done this, so I think what happened is they kind of missed the cue. Like, you saw what happened, you provided training. And we didn't have to come in here and try and get a reaction. I'm pretty good. I could have got a reaction out of somebody if that's what I wanted. It's not why I'm here. They had the opportunity. They had access to the education, and maybe it missed a step. But when I'm bothering no one and their first reaction is to tell me I'm doing something that's illegal, when every single person is, you're in a position because you know them personally. And listen, maybe I caught them at a bad day. I don't need to argue the point that they're bad people. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is they had access to that. Several different agencies notified them that we were in the area, and even that our mapped route put them very close on the list. So probably in the next 3 to 4 days. So they knew we were coming. I think maybe someone, didn't get, because most people were nice. That's the reaction. And I didn't leave that part out. It's 90% of the visit was good, hard work.
Of the visit here?
Next door, yeah.
Oh, good. I'm good.
It wasn't abundantly
We
bad.
went to the second floor. Let's talk about today.
No. When we did a video
glad to hear
earlier.
All right there. But I would say that, more often than not me personally, but he's been touched by a lot of public employees, a lot of.
I'm glad to hear it.
No, but I mean, like, he's.
No, they put their hands on me all the
They've
time.
been physical.
I think you meant touched.
And no, they've been physical, and even though
Not here.
no. But what I'm saying is that if we go with what people presume is the narrative, like they thought we were coming in there to do a gotcha. The same could be said for us, thinking the same about them. Maybe these people are going to be hands-on. Maybe they're going to assault us. Maybe they're going to try and grab
Assault
us.
you?
Yes.
Why would you? So here's the question then. That's a great point. What must you be doing if somebody would consider assaulting
That's
you?
what I'm saying. We're
There was a young lady
in
in Ridgefield, Connecticut, who simply was under the impression it was illegal to film in a public building. I explained to her that it wasn't, and instead of doing anything else, she hit the panic button. She walked around her desk. She assaulted me. She was arrested in her office. Wow. I actually gave her the chance to apologize to avoid arrest.
What I'm trying to say is, if we had the same view at government as they do of us holding a camera, then
we should all be afraid.
We should all be afraid, and that's the thing. Like, if we don't use our rights, we lose them.
Right, I understand.
I'm more afraid of that.
I'm not arguing your point.
Right.
But I think public service should be courteous whether you know camera or not. Well, it's like you should have never been prepared for this. You should have done this willingly. Like,
so that's an ideal. It's an ideal, but you want folks, I'm sure, to feel compassionate about what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve. Is that true?
Absolutely.
Okay, so it might be worthwhile to be compassionate to the people you're approaching who aren't prepared.
And we are.
We are.
That's the thing.
So how would you give it an example?
I don't. It's hard for me to make a generalization.
Well, let me show you how we're compassionate, right? I have 130,000 followers. I have 50 million worldwide views. I do this for a living. I do very well for myself. So with the principle being that, we're gotcha folks. As soon as I came in here and realized I didn't get you, time is money, money's time. I don't have much left in the day. As soon as that lady told you that we were very nice people, we should have been up out of here because we have 3 people's paychecks going, right? But instead, we're up here speaking to you, having probably the most touching and best tour. Like, this is the first time I've ever been to a museum as an aficionado and felt history in front of me, which is why I really don't go, because it's always a letdown. If we weren't here for the real principles and reasons that we do this, if it was about gotcha moments, we would have left so we had time to get more gotcha moments. I think that it's like what she said. You know, I've had a lot of bad interactions with public employees, put their hands on me, a lot of crazy stuff, but I didn't come in here expecting that the young lady downstairs or you would be the same way. You're a different person in a different building. I think sometimes the way they look at us is we're all one big group, you know, but
The other part of this that you might not be familiar with is the culture and what's going on politically in the town. So government to a person in this town only wants to do the best they can. Okay, so this year we had the most transparent town meeting we've ever had. We have a new excellent town administrator, and that was one of the first things she said. This process needs to be much more transparent, and it was. Okay. And we had to pass an override. Now, if you're in a town that has to pass an override, the stress doesn't go away when you know it has to be until the point that it's voted, which was much later. So during a period like that, there's going to be a couple of sides that have something to say about that. It's always easier to hear from the people who support it. But the folks that don't are expressing their constitutional right to not be happy.
Right.
But if you're getting that as a regular diet, it's just harder for you to feel confident in what you're doing. You're on your back foot a lot, and it makes doing your job to the standard that you have for yourself just a little bit more challenging. You're putting fires out everywhere. You're concerned that people are upset. You give them the time they need to express their aggravations and to address them. So you might have been entering at a time where there wasn't,
so we don't take the human element out of this. I understand that government employees in their capacity, they're not robots. You know, police officers aren't robots. We all have.
But here's the thing. Generally speaking, in some parts of our political culture, there is cynicism about public employees, right? And that cynicism is with us every day because we all know we have to earn our check every single day. This is taxpayer money. And I don't know a person in town who doesn't realize that and take it. Some of these people live in town.
See, you're one of the few that would actually admit that. Yeah. And there are some that we redress our grievances. We tell them that what they did was wrong, and they go, well, go ahead, take my job. You won't be able to. But
The cynicism exists on both sides. The same.
But what I'm saying is, in my experience, in many department head meetings, you don't hear talk about that. About people being, what about the public, this, that, or the other thing. We're always talking about the value, and we had to get the most value out of every dollar we're fortunate to get. And I don't know a person in this town, in spite of how they performed in front of you, who isn't doing that. And isn't that the point? Isn't transparency the point?
Of course, ultimately.
You know what's insane? Because he understands the human aspect of even the person, the public employee, he understands that they're human and they might have an off day. He still gives those people who assault him, who push him, who do whatever, and they haven't done it to me. It's interesting. But they do it to him, and he still says, if you apologize, that would be so much better.
And then decide not to.
But it's that ego. They can't just get past the fact that they just did something wrong to somebody.
People. Tell you one thing: if I walk into a public employee's office and start assaulting people, I'm going to jail. Every time that anyone's ever put their hands on me, I've offered them the opportunity.
I understand that, and that's good judgment and reasonable.
Right.
You should be in the city hall working as the town administrator.
No.
Yes,
I couldn't do your job for.
I think you could.
No, I can't. And
Well, you know why? More than half of politicking is giving a shit, and you give several.
You can tell.
Yeah, you are a great, great man.
Well, I don't distinguish myself in that manner in this town. And
Because you love what you do and you love it here.
Yeah, but this town's history is alive because of the work that you do. You should know that. You should be proud of it.
I think they are.
You should be proud of
Proud
it.
of what you've done here.
I don't think
The
too much
past
about that.
is a part of the present right now because of the work that you do. And I'll tell you one thing. Whenever, I will give you my email address. whenever you want, because I'm going to air this entire thing. I'm going to put it up. I want everyone to see it.
Okay.
But whenever you want to do something where you do like a public tour or something, you let me know.
There's
Interviews.
a Civil War program we've done. It hasn't been many years from now. There used to be a retired colonel Marine colonel in town who did all the research. That thing I said to you about Andersonville, he was the one who told me that. It's one of the best, because as you say, he knows, he fought in Vietnam, he knows exactly what the war zone's like.
Yeah.
And, he spoke to that war and the battles that we were in with a certain degree of visceral.
Is he still with us?
He is. He just moved out of town.
I would love to at some point. It's a shame because for a nation that has such pride in their military, those poor folks had to come home and throw their uniforms as soon as they got off the bus in barrels to avoid being. I know one Vietnam vet who was so upset with what he did. He came home and he walked off the bus and he took his stuff on. He was down to his tighty whities and he's walking down the street and he said, "Do you think a bunch of people would give me shit? There goes a naked man." They couldn't because they were going after the other guys that had the courage to keep their uniform on. They didn't get what they needed from us, and that's why I try and be calm and professional when dealing with adversity, as I would hope that people in a public capacity would maintain a level of composure, because way better men and women than myself have paid an ultimate sacrifice. So free Americans can stand in this room and have this kind of discourse where you give your opinion, I give mine, and the history's alive here. They fought for all this. I mean, that's what it's about. You trained your library staff. We got to run, but I got to tell you, this is the best interaction. This is what we want. This is what we hope for. This is what we strive for.
I just want to say one more thing. You said about the town administrator. This administrator's here 1 year and has accomplished more in 1 year than anybody could imagine.
Well, we didn't have a negative experience with her.
Well, what I'm going to say is, when you say I could be the town administrator, if you like what you're seeing here in terms of how I'm responding, engaging, she's the same way with all of her staff.
That's why you see the difference with it 1 year.
She is bringing in a lot of change, and she's got compassion and realizes that, and is, making it slow. So,
how long you been? I'm sorry, maybe I missed this earlier, but how long you been doing this?
Around 20 years.
Around 20 years?
Yeah.
Imagine you was 20 years before this lady came around.
Oh, man. You're 20 years ago, he was 20 years ahead of his time.
Guys, that's, you know what you're saying? You're saying something without the benefit of really knowing.
No, it's the benefit of knowledge. You do what you do for a certain amount of time. You've been a librarian for 20 years. You have an idea.
When a
of
person appreciates the work I do here, I know the prior directors. And I know for many of them,
well, I haven't.
I really don't. Well, they're no longer.
But as far
I can't
as
hold a candle to them.
As far as our experience with other
fine.
capacities,
We've met a lot
Fine.
of other directors.
yeah, let's put it this way: you've set the bar quite high, and I hope to see many other people reach it.
Based on the time right now and all of the other directors of the libraries that we've gone to, you are by far, go above and beyond.
It's not just a library thing. Like anyone can run a great ship.
Yeah.
But only a good captain is downstairs plugging up the holes. Like you care. This is a part of you, and that shines through. Good job, man.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like, how many times have we gone to a town hall, city hall? The mayor can't be.
Everybody in this town cares as much as I do. You can trust me on that. If you trust this tour, if you trust what I'm saying,
I did. I trust you. I do.
I'm telling you.
I do.
Well, thank you, and thank you for showing us that. That was absolutely.
I did. This was phenomenal. And your name again? I'm sorry.
I'll give you my card. My name is Joe.
Joe, perfect. Joe is phenomenal.
You guys want the elevator or the stairs?
I can take the stairs.
Joe, let me ask you a question.
Sure. Oh, sorry.
My daughter has a project. My daughter's 13. She's gonna be studying U.S. history soon. Is this somewhere I could bring her and
Well, how old is she?
She's 13.
Where do you live?
What's the most we get when we able to?
Everybody in the country should have a library card, whether or not they use it frequently or not. It's the promise of this country that everyone would have access to. It works here.
Okay.
It works. That's what I meant. I meant
okay,
not
didn't-
here.
yeah,
I meant, do
yes,
you
okay.
have a
I do
library?
have-
card?
Yes, I do have a public school.
Yeah, so that works.
Okay.
But
That was Joe. Subscribe to Police State Productions. Banana Rana.
wants to see some of the things. Drop it.
Absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
Excellent. We'll catch you in the next one.
This is my
Not so
colleague,
to stop here today.
Rachel Rosengard.
Hi, Rachel.
I can't do this job
How's that
without
work?
her. Rosengard.
Catch you in the next one, and that's the reason I stopped you today.